The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
The problem is there was an irresponsible level of fear that was promoted by the media because the media has an interest in getting you to pay attention to what they're saying. And that irresponsible level of fear, the problem with that is like, even if they know what they're doing, they know that it's propaganda, people get sucked in.
Right.
And then they get scared forever. And if you don't ever give them good data and you're always exaggerating the threat and exaggerating the death number and Dr. Lena Wen, who was like the biggest proponent of, shut everything down, shame the unvaccinated, cast them out of society, all that. Now she's saying that she had a recent article where she said they overestimated the amount of people that actually died from COVID. And I think she said the real number is about 30% of what they're claiming.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, wow.
Because when you die of COVID, if you also have cancer, if you're dying of something else, but you test positive for COVID, they call it a COVID death.
They call it a COVID death.
Yes.
I remember reading that.
Even accidents and even people that because there was a financial incentive.
Yeah.
It was just part of the problem. Dr. Lena Wen slammed after admitted there's been an overcounting of COVID deaths 2.5 years late. Wen claimed the actual COVID-19 death could be only 30% of what's currently reported. There's also been, I don't know how the system exactly works, but there's been doctors that explained what incentive there is to put someone on a ventilator, what incentive there is to prescribe remdesivir.
Because it's all financial decisions,
exactly.
Right? Yeah.
Because of the emergency use authorization, because of the pandemic, there's all these. And when you have money involved, things get fucking squirrely.
Always.
They get real weird.
Always.
And then I didn't realize, I'm so ignorant, I didn't know that most hospitals, or a large number of hospitals, are privately owned. They're businesses.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
Yeah, you're like, wait a minute.
I thought
where's this money coming from?
Something that the government funds so that we all take care of each other.
Not here, not in this country.
No.
Yeah.
And then you have the fact that pharmaceutical companies are responsible for 75% of the ads on television.
Really?
Yes.
75%?
75% of the ads on television. We're one of two countries on earth that allows pharmaceutical companies to advertise.
I had no idea.
The other one is New Zealand, and they're far more restrictive than we are.
And
so you have so much financial
incentive.
And then and we lost people in terms of losing their mind and their anxiety that never came back.
Yeah.
I just saw an article today about how I think it's time to mask up at award shows again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, see if you can find that. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's a cold.
Right.
It's basically gotten down to a cold
To the
now.
point, it's become so benign to human beings.
If you're that vulnerable, you shouldn't be going to the award show.
In the first place.
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're not healthy,
Right.
And also,
right. Just make smart choices, right? Protect yourself. Stay back.
And there's still, after all these years, no encouraging people to take vitamin D, no encouraging people to lose weight, no encouraging people to take care of their overall metabolic health so that they'll have a more robust immune system and they can survive these things. No, nothing. Nothing.
Nope.
No,
almost the opposite. I would say junk food's more prevalent than ever and pushing, that whole, fucking, what are we, Lucky Charms, right?
Yeah, the Lucky Charms thing. It might be time to mask up at award show. It might be time to stop your fucking award shows. How about that? Nobody likes them. You guys like them. We don't even like them. We watch them because there's nothing else on. The kind of people that really like award shows, they wish they were there. I wish I was getting that award.
I don't think, do they even televise them anymore? I don't even see them anymore.
They televise the Oscars.
Yeah. Well, I remember when that was a big thing. You sit around and watch the Oscars. I don't think I even heard the last time there was an Oscars.
Yeah, you heard when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock.
I did see that.
That's it.
Yeah, I did see that.
That was the last fucking dying breath of the Oscars, I think.
Yeah.
I can't be so
interesting.
About that stuff. A mask. They don't work. That's the other thing. It's the other thing Lena Wen said. That cloth masks are essentially facial coverings. She didn't say that at the beginning of the pandemic, but she said it recently.
Interesting.
On CNN, they're like,
oh, they must have been very upset.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I think she's realizing that her reputation is at stake.
I see.
And she's got to actually report real facts.
Yeah.
And so that, and also the writing on the wall. Like when we're looking back at this from 5 years from now or 10 years from now, we're looking at adverse reactions and we're looking at all these different things and what we did to kids, how we stunted their development by masking everybody and keeping them at home. The whole thing's nuts. And it was a very mild pandemic in terms of like the Spanish flu and the Black Plague and the horrific pandemics of the past.
Right. Yeah, very true. One of my best friends sadly passed away during COVID in a rock climbing accident. Not from COVID, but when he went to the hospital, he was climbing in Utah, fell without his helmet and did his skull in, and it was terrible. Tommy Dutra, he was one of my best friends, amazing guy, incredible athlete. Anyway, he went to the hospital and his dad called all of us, right? All of his close friends and his family and everything else. Nobody was allowed in the hospital. His own parents had to say goodbye to him over Zoom when they pulled the plug.
Oh, God.
All of it. And it was right during the height of it all. And because he was getting out and climbing and doing something active during the pandemic, when everybody else was sitting inside, his own fault for not wearing his helmet, so on and so forth. But terrible tragedy. But just imagine not being able to say goodbye to your son in that situation because of that whole heightened, like we were talking about the heightened fear thing, right? The heightened hysteria.
Like if it wasn't even COVID positive, it doesn't even make sense.
But they weren't allowed in the hospital.
Oh.
Yeah, unbelievable.
So, I mean, there's two tragedies simultaneously, right? The big one's that he died hitting his head.
Of course,
climbing.
Of course, yeah.
What a way to go. Ooh.
Yeah, poor guy.
God.
But he died doing what he loved, though. He was an incredible climber and was very passionate about it. So,
Yeah, I talked to Gabor Mate about that, who's an expert in addictions and trauma, and he thinks that people that are drawn to like free solo climbing, like the Alex Honnold's types of the world,
the addiction of the adrenaline. Yeah.
He's like, there's